Should I share mine or?
No. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah bil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, today we will have our second day of a proposal seminar, and then the contender here will be Chika. Yeah? Your full name is Chika Aprilia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, and then your thesis title here is let me see it first. The occurrence of code switching among Indonesian Twitter users. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and then your thesis advisor here is Zatun MPD. Yeah. And then your examiner will be me. And I hope before joining this proposal seminar, you really watch the previous proposal seminar. So you will understand there will be two sessions. Yeah, the first, it will be the feedback from your PowerPoint presentation. And then the second one, it will be the feedback for your complete thesis proposal or research proposal. Okay. Before we are going to start this proposal seminar, let's start this proposal seminar by reciting Basmalah together. Yeah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's hope you will be able in answering all the questions, and then you have to make sure this one here is your own kind of research proposal, so you have to be able in giving me all the answer that I want. Okay, Chika, and then I'm gonna share your PowerPoint presentation, and then you may start explaining. Yeah, time is yours. Okay, come on, Chika.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Chika Aprilia. Today I will elaborate my presentation thesis entitled The Occurrence of Code Switching Among Indonesian Twitter Users. Okay, let's start from the first chapter. The first slide, sorry. It consists of my first chapter, background of study, and the second chapter of my theory. Okay, the topic of the research is derived from language phenomena is that widely used in online interaction in social media. This term is called code switching. According to Palmer in 2009, in her article which published in 10th Online Bilingual Research Journal, she described code switching as the individual's capability of using more than two languages in single utterance. In other words, it's the situation when the speakers combine two languages or more in order to avoid misunderstanding, and the insertion is a vocabs and phrase or sentences. However, the first time I was introduced to this term, it was one of my material subject in social linguistics when I was in sixth semester. And at the time, the terms of anak jaksel was popular and used to, let's say, making fun or mocking to the people who try to switch language, to switch in between two language. And in this context, I mean Indonesian and English. At first, since I'm also an active social media user, my presumption, I thought it was they want to create a digital persona or self-image on social media, especially to the digital native who have a closer tie with technology and social media. But however, according to Holmes in 2013, She stated in her fourth edition books called An Introduction Social Linguistic. She stated three reasons of choosing codes. The first one is participant, the second social setting, and the last is the purpose of interaction. And then it was further explained by Bistakan from Arkansas University in his article published by English for Specific Purpose of Journal. He developed X factors influencing code switching. One of them is no similarity in English or in the language, in which the situation when the speakers there are times when non-native speakers couldn't find the right expression or vocabulary to fit a certain concept or conversation that leads them to switch code in order to avoid misunderstanding and out of meaning. By this means, it's correlated with uh, the learner's deficiency of target language. And then the nevertheless it's clear that the speaker purpose is to achieve one goal, which is to successful communication between both of the parties. And then the reason I choose Twitter as my platform to conducting my research is not only because I spend more time on the platform rather than comparing to the another social media, but it's also because the majority of Twitter user is teenager, which is suitable with my targeting participant. And also, Twitter is microblogging platform that provide a concept of posting social status and known as a tweet in Twitter. It means it focuses on written context or written communication that provide a variety of linguistic phenomena, which is suitable with my research called the occurrence of code switching. And then regarding to the explanation that I state, I want to conduct this research to answer my first question. The first one is to answer what types of code switching that used by Indonesian Twitter users or my participants. And the second, what factors influence Indonesian Twitter user to use code switching in their tweets. Please moving on to the next slide. Okay, so the next slide, I divided into two slides. The first slide is about technique of collecting the data. This research employ a qualitative method data to identify the focus problem of the research. Thereby, I'm going to observe the emerging of code switching of the participant tweets. The subject of the study in these research will be active Twitter users with the age range between 19 or up to 24 or 25, and also the participant is selected based on the TOEFL or English language proficiency level with a minimum required. And then I have two steps. The first one is observation sheets. This observation sheet is used to collect the data based on my observation towards the daily tweets of the participant, which involve code switching in it. And then the tweet is inserted in the observation sheet based on the research question that I stated earlier. And I'm going to order it by date and insert a checklist on every occurrence of code switching based on the problems. Afterward, it will be analyzed using the theory of technique and not to analyze the data. And then I have documentation. So the documentation is my search data, is from participant recent tweets or interaction with their mutuals on Twitters, content code switching. That will be the documentation. And then please moving to, this is the last slide of my presentation. To analyze the data, I have two theories to conduct. The first from theory Hamers and Blanc in 2003. The theory Hamers and Blanc is used to classify based on types, namely text switching, interessential switching, and intraessential switching. Uh, this these three types also measure the language proficiency of the users, since the majority of portion of the utterance is different comparing to the text switching. I mean, for example, the text switching only use exclamation such as "I see," "you know," "I mean," and etc. While the interessential and intraessential is consists of sentences. And then the last theory I use is proposed by Bistakan from Arkansas University. He developed 8 factors that I stated before, and it's used to identify the background reasons of the users while conducting the code switching in their tweets. And then Mm, this this consists of no similar words in English, didn't know the word in the target language, to fill the gap and easier to speak in language, to avoid misunderstanding and to convey intimacy and to maintain privacy. And the last is to add emphasize. And then the result will be reported discretely below the table. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
That's all, Chika?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's try to go back to your first slide. Okay. My first question for you, Chika. Your
Yeah.
title here is of the current of code switching among Indonesian Twitter users. Yeah. And as you aware of here, your major here is English education, right? Okay. And then from your title here, which part of your title that indicating your thesis is going to be one of the thesis that will describe about English education? Come on.
Okay, so as I say, so code switching is the language phenomena in which the speaker con- in which the speaker combine two language. It means it could be applied in school, especially for international school, or I expect this to be applied also for teacher that and for teachers in ordinary school in primary school. And then if the teacher could apply this code switching in their communication with the student, I hope it's going to increase the comprehension of the student as well.
That's all. Okay, it's a little bit contrary with your title here. If you try to propose this type of code switching, and then we can implement that one in a school context, and why here you decided to analyze Indonesian Twitter users. You are not analyzing code switching context on English education setting. For example, in a certain school maybe, or in a certain kind of educational institution. Yeah, because it seems like you are talking about, okay, this one is in a wider context, Indonesian. Yeah, but suddenly here your goals or your aim, you're aiming this research here for a school context. Can you see my point, Chika?
Yeah.
Ah, that's the first. And then second one, uh, before I get my approval for your title here, one thing that really made me proud of you. First, you were going to conduct a research, and then it is different with majority of your friend. Yeah, majority of your friend taking school and then also educational institution as their context of the research. And then your title here playing a big role. Yeah, it is in Indonesian Twitter user. Yeah, but since you are different, we talk about Indonesian, and then that will be really difficult for you to make this Indonesian Twitter user that can represent, yeah, all Indonesian Twitter user with your research here. How you are going to uh, make your finding or your result here will represent all the Twitter user in Indonesia, especially. Come on.
Okay, since my subject of study in this research will be active Twitter users with the age range between 19 and 24, I will gain the participant from the university student, especially in education, major in English. It could be major in English as well. And also, I select them based on the TOEFL. So it's going to influence whether they influence the language proficiency of the user or of the participants.
Okay, but have you tried to do a mini research maybe or a mini observation about your how many of the population or how many respondent that you're going to take so it will represent the Indonesian Twitter user. Yeah, because when you talk okay, I'll try to pick from several university, yeah, several kind of educational institution. How did you can make sure that will represent the Indonesian Twitter? When we talk about Indonesia in the big role here, it should be all province in Indonesia, yeah, and then it should be covering all aspect in Indonesia. So you can call here your research it is about Indonesian Twitter user. Maybe you can make maybe you can collect some data that can represent all the Indonesian Twitter, yeah. And then after that one, you may decide how that you are going to classify all the Twitter user that can represent Indonesian on it. Okay, Chika?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Next one. It will be the same question, I guess, with the previous one. I'm asking you about your kind of research. It's different. Majority of your friend conducting quantitative kind of research, an experiment kind of research. But here, you try to conduct a qualitative research. Yeah, and then when conducting qualitative research, we need to make sure that we are going to be able in giving a comprehensive kind of description, yeah, a comprehensive kind of finding, yeah. And then from your title here, how are you going to make that one a comprehensive overview about code switching from Indonesian Twitter users? It is easy for you to make that one. Would you please try to answer? Try to answer it, please.
Okay. So wait, regarding that, I thought since maybe I don't remember whether I also mentioned about the Holmes factors that only mention about three factors, such as participants, the purpose of interactions, and the social setting. But in this case, in this research, I apply the further explanation by Vista. It's based on that was inspired by Holmes. So I think it's going to be given the detailed information why does the people or why do the users uh, conduct these code switching or language phenomena best since he also stat since I also give an explanation based on the egg development factors as well.
That's all?
Yeah.
Okay, and then that still will be my biggest question for you, okay, Chika? Since you have different type of research, different type of method that you use, and then also the area of your research here, it will be really different with majority of your friends. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now that's enough for your title. Let's go to background of the study. Okay, there are several interesting facts that you mentioned for your background of the study. Yeah, first fact here, you were an active social media user that you claim yourself that one. Yeah, so with this one, I want you to send me your personal account, your Twitter account, and then I'm gonna take a look at your tweet and then also all of the details that you mentioning about your Twitter, yeah, because you're going to deal with this Twitter research. Okay, Chika. And then second fact also about your background of the study, you are mentioning it is the setting of Indonesian, yeah, and you are not giving a percentage, and then you are not giving a clear description here about why this research it is so important to conduct, or why you need to conduct this research. Yeah, background of the study consists of the basis, consists of the main thing why did you need, why did you have to conduct this research. Okay, Chika?
Mm.
Okay, now the third fact, yeah, the third fact here, uh, before you send this title to me and then giving my approval, I told you to take the reference only from Cambridge Journal of Education and then also Oxford Journal of Education. Okay. And then now I want you to please try to mention the relevance between the journal that you took from Cambridge and then also from Oxford. Okay, Chika, the relevant, yeah,
Yeah.
with your title here, and then also with the Oxford Journal of Education, and then Cambridge Journal of Education. Come on.
Okay, so before I choose code switching or this topic, I also search in a website that you referenced for me before, and code switching, the research of code switching, I barely, no, I don't say barely, I seldom find the the research that talks about code switching. Indeed, there was like several, for example, does exposure of code switching influence the children bilinguals? But so it's I mean that code switching in research, code switching in Cambridge education on Oxford education is only focused on bilingual children. As I'm majoring in English education, which the target supposed to be at least teenagers, so I think I use the different participant or the different sample for my research. That's why I use Twitters as the majority of the users is teenagers.
That's all?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, and the next one, why Twitter, not any other social media that now happening? Because when we talk about Twitter, it is, we're talking about writing the tweet, or what is it? What you call it on Twitter terms here? Why Twitter? Yeah,
Yeah.
and then as long as I understand, when we try to talk with some teenager, like you claim it here, for example, the age of junior high school and then also senior high school, there will be really difficult for them, I guess, to write a proper one. Yeah, and then also to tweet something that really important, especially using English. Come on.
So why Twitter?
Yeah.
I stated before in my background study, I the major the language phenomena that in written context, I talk about written context, is always often find is often find sorry is often find on Twitter, since it's a microblogging which focus more on written context, comparing to the Instagram that we see that it's present more about the pictures or video or Insta story, or while Facebook is mostly used with for older people, while Twitter is always been a place and a platform or a content for teenagers. You see that there's also trending. We can find trending in Twitter that see a lot of things like musics, news that uh, always spread they always spread by the Twitter users. That's why I'm using Twitter for my platform, because it's a place for teenagers to convey their thoughts, their innermost thought, without worrying about uh, their parents, because their parents focus on Facebook, or without worrying about the image they have to show, because Instagram you have its friends, it's about self image, self branding. That's all.
Okay, when you try to answer this question, I want you to mention one meme that really popular, yeah, among Twitter
What
user, and then
what
also Instagram user, and then also with any other social media. Come on, one meme that really famous, I guess. Come on.
one main?
Yeah, one meme that really famous, really popular. When we
Ah,
try to differentiate, when we try to
yeah.
distinguish between any other type of social media, please.
Okay, so in Twitter, it's written. It's micro. It's you can update short posting, short status, or short tweet in Twitter now as a features. And in Twitter, there's call it Twitter threads. It's a sequence or
Okay, Chika, you don't have to mention the details on a
yeah. Okay, let's say
Twitter.
it's
What
Twitter
I
threads.
mean here, the memes only. Come on.
Okay, so
Okay,
it's
Instagram user, blah blah blah, and then a Twitter user, blah blah blah, and then Facebook user, blah blah blah. That's what I mean. Only the meme that you can give me as the distinction between each of the social media. And I'm pretty sure this kind of social media is really famous and then well known. Come on.
oh yeah, I'm afraid that you don't know the features, so I elaborated. That's why.
Okay, come
Okay,
on.
in Twitter, it's called Twitter Threads. It's you can write a couple of a couple of tweets that's related to each other, and mostly is used for storytelling, such as horror or based on experience, and it's really popular. And for example, if you know, there's also call it spill the tea or in use.
Okay, hey
We
Chika,
we
cut it
use Twitter
out. Now
threads.
let me give you the example of what I mean here. A memes, yeah? That talking about the main difference between each type of social media. At Twitter, here a place for scientists. That's the example.
Scientists.
Yeah, a place for smart person or smart people. Yeah, and then Instagram, a place to showing off everything. Have you heard about that one before? Come on.
Yeah, yeah. That's I'm about to share that.
Okay, come on.
Instagram. Yeah, moving to Instagram, it's a place for it's platform to sell like endorsement, and you can also show what you have to others, even though it's just strangers. While and it's not focused on written because you can post a picture with a caption, right? And while what else? Facebook, what for Facebook, it's mostly a place for memes or hoax news, but it's created by older people, or the source was unknown.
Okay, so Twitter here is only for intellectual person. Yeah,
Yeah, you may say
that's
that.
what you mentioned. And then Instagram here for those that got no brain but having everything to showing off. And then Facebook here only a place for dating. And then TikTok only, what is it? Come on.
Oh no, I didn't say that. On Twitter,
Okay, come on.
there are a lot of people that against each other just to defend their idols. So
Okay.
I just mean on Twitter you can be anonym. You can show your face to the strangers, just being individual, just to keep your private identification. That's what I mean.
Okay, thank you very much. So you are not getting my point. What I mean, there are many memes that discussing or representing here the difference between each type of the social media. Okay, now that's enough, I guess, for you beginner of the study. You have to put also the percentage of each criteria that you're going to use for your research. Okay, Chika? And then now let's go to your second chapter. We got a theory. Okay, this is interesting. Code switching. What is it, the code switching according to you, Chika, please?
It's the situation when the speaker combine two language or more in one conversation or in one time.
Really?
Yeah, the insertion could be a phrase, sentences, or just one vocabulary.
No, I mean the previous one you mentioning about a situation. Really? Code switching itself is?
Yes, I mean it's not situation by in the in literal situation. When
Okay.
when when the speakers combine two language or more in one conversation or in one time, it could be an online interaction or real life in conversation.
Okay, and then next one. How code switching here will help the student in learning English? How?
If we talk about student, it means those who are not capability in English, right? Uh, since I focus more on a college student that has at least has a capability to speak English, and when they apply this code switching, it means they have a courage, or let's say confident, even though they have to what is it, combine more than two languages such as Indonesian and English. At least they convey their thought, their opinions, uh, as what they want to, and people that read could understand the point of what they want to convey, what they want to share. Sorry.
Okay, my question here is in teaching and learning context, Jika. Do you mind, please try to show me or explain it to me several example of the advantages and then also the benefit of using code switching in learning English language, please.
Okay, so I'm also a teacher, so I always use code switching for my student. Even I know he sometimes doesn't know what I mean, but since I always practice it a lot, and the sentence that I keep said or I keep mention it's repetitive, right? So at the end they understand what I'm trying to say without I have to giving an explanation over and over again. So by conducting code switching, I wish or I expect they know what I'm trying to say. Even I have to give an explanation first. But if I keep telling them with the words that I said before, they would understand what I mean.
Okay, so where are the example? Do you want to try to mention it? Several examples that indicating the use of code switching while learning English. Chika,
Okay. It's a dialogue. I would say dialogue
it's
first.
up to you. A dialogue
Okay.
or a conversation that will be okay. Come on.
Okay, I would while teaching I also tells a story. For example, do you know about this one? Blah 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 blah. He is famous for this blah 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 blah. And then and even though he doesn't know about the word famous. I mean it's just imaginary, right? Even though he doesn't know about the famous word, and I'm going to tell him what the famous means. And then mm, uh next day I would say something about related with the famous word, and he knows what I mean, and he knows and he eventually understand what the famous means in the term.
Okay, so that was in educational context, especially on teaching and learning. And then now, what about the example about your setting here for Indonesian teenager with their tweet? The example of the use code switching on it, please, Chika.
Okay, I'm going to give an example from Twitter. There's a lot of teenagers that try to convey or try to share their opinion. For example, uh, I know him. He was my friends. Blah blah blah. Tapi dia blah 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 blah. So, uh, teenagers would teenagers who conduct code switching. I find mostly on Twitter threads. So I think it's even though I don't know whether it's because of the lax language acquisition, or because they just want to, or just because it happens without being aware in the first place. But at least they know what words they want to say or want to convey.
Okay, then your answer here lead me to my final question per your theory.
Okay.
So how that will attract, that will help, that will increase or improve their ability in English, for example, while they're using code switching on it. Chika?
Or improve. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm, let's see. So based on code switching, there are three types as stated before. If they use text switching, it means the language proficiency would be lower rather than those who conduct intersensual and intersensual switching. So I will know if they have a language provis if they have a capability in English, they would use intersensual or intrasensual switching instead of text switching. That's all. That's all, sir.
Okay, wait a second. I have a
Okay.
technical problem here. My webcam. Okay, let me try it again. Okay, thank you. And then now let's go to your last chapter, yeah?
Let's check that.
Third chapter of your research proposal, technique of collecting the data. Here you're mentioning observation sheets and then documentation. Uh, So how are you going to observe all the tweets and then also making a documentation on it, Chika?
Okay, the documentation, it means the tweets of the participants, and then the tweets of the participant will be inserted in observation sheet based on the problems. It means I have to observation sheet at the first time code switching types and the factor, and the second one it's factors influencing. And then I will give a check. I will since I said that for example the code switching type is divided into three, so I will give an insert like checklist based on the occurrence of code switching. If they use text switching, I will place it in text switching
And then
section.
and then you're gonna choose randomly, yeah? You're gonna choose randomly from all the tweet based on your criteria, a teenager kind of criteria.
Randomly, yeah, from the participant that I contact before. Yeah.
Okay. And the next here you're using it is Hamers or only Hamers and Blanc theory here.
Oh, wait, what? It's two theory. The first theory from Hamers and Blanc, and the second theory by Vista.
Yeah, one of the expert that I noticed is Hammer, not Hammers. It is Hammers here.
Oh, that's a different. The
Okay,
one that
that's
you said
different.
different.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then the theory from Hammers and Blanc here, you use it to classify based on the types. Okay, and then the second one, the theory proposed by Bista to identify the background reasons. So you mean here when you try to analyze each tweet, okay, so this one you're going to make it into this group, okay, this classification, and then after that one, you're going to mention the background, the reason of the background here, why the user making or deciding to use code switching. That way,
Yeah, that correct.
as
Correct.
simple as that one. Okay, and then for this one, I'm not gonna take the theory from Hamers and Blanc since it is 2003. You have to make at least 2010 above. Okay, you have to find any other expert, any other code switching expert that mentioning about code switching types or making classification in code switching. Do not use Hamers and Blanc. Okay?
Uh, but their Hammers and Blanc is got inspired by the previous story, which by Pops like in 1994.
Okay, one more time. I'm not taking all kind of reference. You have to take the new one. Okay?
Reasons.
When we talk about 2010, it is not new. It is not new, but at least that will be better than using 2003 kind of reference. Yeah, and then uh, for the second theory by Bista, it will be the same also. You have to replace this theory, try to find another expert that mentioning about identifying the background of reason in code switching. Okay, Chika? So you're gonna replace both of the theory here, starting from Hamers and Blanc, and then second one from Vista. Okay? Okay. That will be the last for your PowerPoint presentation. And then now let's go to your complete proposal. Please kindly open up your complete proposal. Okay. I'm gonna stop share first. Okay, you're sending a proposal revision. This is the last version of your proposal?
Yeah, I name it just to
Okay.
different from others.
Okay. Okay, starting with your first paragraph here, you were mentioning about the power of social media on it, and then the sheer number of people can, okay, that's okay. But after that one, when you try to make a new paragraph on the second one, talking about in sociolinguistics, okay, you have to put also the previous kind of sentences that related with sociolinguistics, okay. So you cannot just put suddenly here in sociolinguistic, so it's look like it will be an independent kind of period. Okay, Chika,
Yeah,
do you understand what I mean?
yeah, but let me say what I
Okay, come
think
on.
I thought. So at first it's linguistic in linguistic term, blah blah blah. But since my literary review, I explain about social linguistic, so I switch it to social linguistic. Also, since the code switching is the branch study of social linguistics, so I think people would know why I just state social linguistic.
Okay, but what I mean here, yeah, your first paragraph here is not connected with the second one. Do you understand? Last sentence that you created here, they mostly combined between Indonesian and then English. Yeah. So the next paragraph here, it should be about the combination between Indonesian and English. That should be maybe the code switching that will be relevant. But when you try to mention in sociolinguistic, it is a new idea. Yeah. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. And then you could also from Palmer 2009. Yeah, it will be the same also. You gotta cross this one, not taking Palmer 2009, but you have to use 2010 above. Yeah, because if it is 2009, now we are in 2021. Can you ever imagine how long this reference the text is? Okay, okay,
But what
Jika.
if it's 2010?
Okay, when I
Okay,
mention about 2010 above, it is consists of 2010. Really?
yeah, it start from 2010.
No, I'm not mentioning starting
Oh,
with 2010. 2010 above. So it's mean 2011 and then 2021.
okay.
And it will be very perfect if you use only the reference from 2020 or 2021. That will be better. Because when we talk about research, we talk about what we call the novelty. Yeah? And the novelty, we can get the novelty here from new finding, not from old classical kind of finding. Okay, Jika? And okay, this one is interesting. You got it from Crespo 2019. That's okay. Yeah. Uh, okay, your second and third paragraph, that's matching, what they call matching, that relevant. That's okay. Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about Al Ahzab verse 70 here. You are mentioning about learner acquisition of the language. Yeah. And then in Islamic perspective, using proper language is a must. So the first, learner acquisition of the language, and then a proper language. Can you see the relevance here between language acquisition and another that one, a proper language, please?
Okay, so the Surah Al-Azab verse 70 is related with the the previous sentence before the acquisition language, which to avoid misunderstanding and out of the meaning. But but I put an additional sentence, or even because blah 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 blah. That's why it doesn't match with the after sentence.
Yeah, maybe because this verse here it is about colon sarida. Yeah, colon sarida. What does it mean by colon sarida? You have to birth this one and then make it. Yeah, to the previous sentence before you're going to quote this verse. Okay. Okay. And then next one, again, you're quoting from Quran Surah Ibrahim verse 4 here. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ رَسُولٍ إِلَّا بِلِسَانٍ قَوْمِهِ لِيُبَيِّنَ لَهُمْ فَيُضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَيَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. And then the relevant between the first verse and then the second one here, what is it? It is still related with the
Yeah,
previous.
related.
Hmm?
The first, the first from Surah Al Azab implies this to speak words straight to the point. It means you
Hmm?
have to keep your honesty when you're speaking and where you're telling something information. And then the second surah from Ibrahim, verse 7, it tells that language to make that we send messengers in using our language to make things clear for them. So by giving a straight to the point, it means you have a clear message that contain what you want to say to other people.
Okay, I want you to please not only looking at this verse translation, but please kindly look at the interpretation of this verse. Okay, Chika?
Yep.
Uh, Next one. Here you are mentioning about in 2019, yeah. So if it is 2019 and then now we are in 2021, it will be better if you try to take a data here from 2020. Okay, you have to request this one. Okay, not from 2019. Okay, Jika?
Yeah, but I made this in 2020.
No. What year is today? Yeah, so you gotta make it. Okay,
Okay.
and then okay, next one here you took from Holmes. Holmes here it is from New Zealand. The expert
Holmes
here.
Janet?
Okay, it's Jet Holmes or Katie Holmes. Who
No,
is
it's
it?
Janet Holmes. It's a book, but it's the fourth edition, which published from Cambridge Press.
Okay, and then originally from UK or it is New Zealand?
No, it's London.
Okay, it's UK then. It's different because one of the expert also that well known with her book here from New Zealand. Yeah.
Oh,
And then next one. Okay, your first reference here, you're mentioning Aldin 2014. Yeah. So this one from an international journal or what is it?
yeah, it's from. Wait, I need to find it. Oh, it's from USA, Wake Forest University.
Okay. And the next one from Bota. Who is Bota? So it is an Asian name, Bota.
It's a name. It's
Hmm?
a last name.
Last
Last name.
name, yeah. It is an
Last name.
Asian name or what is it?
Yeah, it's from Cambridge Journal Today, English Today. So it's Cambridge Journal.
Okay. Okay, then have a look at the comparison between your title and then her title here. focusing on the use of English Chinese code switching. So there are the details and then also the note on it. Can you see the difference between your title and then her title here?
From Bota?
Yeah.
Oh, he mentioned the application. Wait, what?
No, the use of English Chinese code switching. So that made this research here complete. Yeah, the detail on it. So mentioning only code switching, so that will be okay. The teenager here will try to do or will try to make code switching using bahasa, and then after that one using their mother language. Do you see my point? Yeah. So if you try to put this one with if you try to put this one using English, that will be better, I guess. Yeah. So you'll have a specific term. Hanan, is that you, Hanan? Yeah, okay, come on. Come on in. Okay, waalaikumsalam. Have a seat. You have to wait. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Next one, the third here. Okay, you have to replace this one here from Hamers and Blanc, like what I mentioned it earlier. Yeah, and then also with Vista. Yeah. Okay, next, focus of the problem. Okay. Okay, look at your focus of the problem, Chika. Your focus of the problem, it is only using the types of code switching, and then second one, the influence of Indonesian Twitter user. So there are no other aspect that you're going to analyze for this one.
What? Pardon? Sorry.
From your focus of the problem here, only two focus. The first, it is type of code switching. And then the second one, factors that influence Indonesian Twitter user to use code switching.
Yeah.
So you don't have any other aspect that you're going to put also as an additional for this one? No?
No, because it's going to be written descriptively.
Okay, next one, limitation of the problem. Okay, the objective of the study. Okay, significant of the study. Okay, so your first chapter, you have to revise it based on my feedback. Okay, now let's go to your second chapter. Your second chapter here, you're starting with sociolinguistics. And then, okay, here we go again. You were quoting from Holy Quran, Surah Al-Hujurat 13 about language as follows. Yeah, and then why sociolinguistics, and then quoting from this Quran. Come on, from this verse, Chika.
Because social linguistic is the study about among people among people, culture and language. So they bond to each other, and based on social linguistic, it's a result the language. What is it? Based on it result the several languages such as Indonesian, there are Japanese, Sundanese, and yeah, etc. And that's why I put Surah Al-Hujurat 13, because it says that we create you in different variation and techniques. So that's why it made.
Okay, cut it out. A short answer that what I want from you here. Okay, sociolinguistic, it is about social, yeah, it is about society and language, and then this verse that mentioning about society, and then also about language, and then also about culture. As simple as that one, yeah. And then next, you are quoting also from Holmes here. It is still 2001. Really? 2001. It is a big no from me. You have to use a new one. Okay. And then next here, you also mentioned about language bound with people and social factor. What does it mean, or what do you mean by language bound here, Chika?
Yeah, in social linguistic, society create language. So if you're coming from, let's say, in London, I would say London, for example. In London, language is also about accent, right? In London,
Mhm.
there are certain accent that used by the lower social people. For example, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the south of London or UK. They use particle accent comparing to the people that live in London. So that's why language bound with people and social factors.
Okay, thank you. Second one, code switching, word though, yeah, 2006, use a new one, yeah. And then it is also the same with Stockwell, 2002, you better find a new one. And then it is also the same with, uh, what is it?
Hamburger.
Yeah, you have to replace that with the new one also, yeah. And then next, okay, type of code switching here. I already mentioned it to you. You have to find new expert, yeah, new kind of author that can explain also about the types of code switching, yeah. And wow, it is also Kabeya. It is Kabeya or Kabaya. What is it?
Yeah,
Kabeya. It
she's
is from
from.
African.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Kebaya, for example, dia minta pendapat Wan, dia yang mana, just choose. What is it? It is a random kind of
That's example.
sentence. Dia minta pendapat Wan, dia yang mana, just choose.
That's also
Oh my
actually
God, it's
correction.
really random. What is it? Can you explain it? What is it here?
There's actually not a single tweet, but interaction with his friend. But I cut it out because I need this his sentence because it matched with the interessential, the types of code switching.
Yeah, because it's really it's really funny, and then it's really ambiguous, and then it is really nonsense, I guess, because dia minta pendapat Wan, dia yang mana. Okay, that's strange, yeah. And then Hamers Blanc 2003, you have to replace this one also. And then who is this? Yilat Yinan. So do not use this one. It is from 2004. Yeah, I feel my heart pumping just because. Okay, melalui Zoom, yeah. Oh my God, this one also a random kind of tweet, yeah. And then the reason do good switching, Mayor Hop 2006, you have to find a better one, a new one also. And then next, Alanazi, yeah, you have to find also the new one here. Vista, yep. And then that's okay with Al-Kaisi, but not with Mutusami, yeah. Do not use Mutusami, yeah, because it's from 2009, yeah. And then Anderson also, you have to revise that one, try to find a new one. And then next, Twitter language influence. Okay. And then what is it? What is it? Theoretical of framework. What is it? Do you mind please try to read it? What is it?
Or you have
B.
this one. Oh, this is the format of qualitative research.
Yeah, try to read it. What is it?
It's the framework. So it means like it's like
No, B. Read it, please. What that you wrote.
oh, this framework is used for instead investigating the phenomenon of code switching.
No, B. What is it? B. That you wrote here. B. What is it?
Because the first one is the review of theories.
Yeah.
So
B.
B, theoretical of framework.
Really? That was that you wrote on it? It is theoretical framework?
Yeah.
Yeah, try to see it. Try to check it, please. What is it that you wrote here?
Yeah, it's theoretical framework. I saw it by my own eyes.
No, but here, what you said it to me, it's different. You are mentioning theoretical framework.
Ah, that's just typo, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, next one. You are still mentioning about blank 2003. And then one typical types of theoretical framework here, you have to make graph on it. Yeah, a graphic on it. Yeah. So starting with how that you're going to uh, conduct this research, yeah, for the theoretical framework. And the
Yeah.
next one, time and place, okay. And then do not use Kumar, yeah. We are using Craswell, Nonan, Richard, and then you are using Kumar here. Do not use Kumar, yeah. And Dornyi, that's okay, using Dornyi. And then next one, uh, subject of the study, okay. Okay, I guess that's enough, Chika, for your complete proposal, yeah. And then you will have only 3 days, yeah, to revise your proposal, and then you have to send it to me again, okay.
Thank you.
3 days should be enough, and then after this one, do not leave this proposal seminar first, because you are going to have your extra assignment. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for attending this proposal seminar, Chika. Okay, Chika.
Chika,
Let's
why
hope.
hard to
Yeah.
say?
Okay. Let's hope you're going to succeed for this proposal seminar, and then after completing this proposal seminar, maybe you can start thinking of joining comprehensive exam. Yeah.
No.
And then also thinking about signing for the thesis exam. Yeah. One more time, let's close this proposal seminar by reciting Alhamdulillah together. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. And then the last, I say, Wallahul Muwaffiq wal Hadi ila Sabil Rasad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.